Welcome, everybody. Another episode of STR Conversations. We are your host, Mr. Eric Miller, with his fancy Idlewild shirt, and Jasper Rivers. What's up, Eric?
What's up, buddy? I like your what do they call it? Late night DJ voice.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. That's what when you talk really low and deep. Your late night DJ voice.
All right, that's the first time I got that feedback. So that's interesting.
That's right, bro. They say it, man. You have a face for radio or a face for podcasting. You know.
All right, well, I'll take that as a compliment.
But what's up, dude? We got a lot going on. It's kind of nuts what's happening here in where am I? San Diego and Idlewild. We got a lot going on there. But we also have some pretty exciting things coming up in the next couple of months, right?
That's right. We're so today we're going to talk about the STR Legends Mastermind because we are back.
We're back, baby.
We're back. We are going to make some big announcements next week on what's happening exactly with the Mastermind. But we want to take the opportunity to kind of give everybody a recap of STR Legends in the Mastermind, what it is and who it's for and what we've done so far, what we learned. And it's something that the Mastermind is really close to our hearts for two reasons. Number one is that that's actually how we started working together in the first place, which we'll go into. And secondly, it's also what kept us alive as an educational business during in 2020.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. When the world was shutting down, we're trying to figure out how to stay in business. And we're like, oh, we got to help other people stay in business to stay in business. Let's go.
That's right. Yeah. So it's crazy. That's only like 2 years ago, I guess, right? But yeah, that's 2 years ago. Anyway, let's go back, man. Like the first time I thought of a mastermind, I remember was in 2018. Coincidentally, it was actually near where you are right now. It was in La Jolla in San Diego.
Yeah, right down the road.
Yeah, right down the road. Yeah, I was at a retreat with a personal, like a mental coach, like a psychotherapist. We were doing a small retreat, and he was teaching us how to dive into our pasts and solve like any negative energy that's remaining from past experiences. And as a result, you don't get triggered emotionally by situations. So that's a coach that I had for a year, and he was doing a small retreat. And I was thinking, man, that would be cool if, to invite some Airbnb people and then just rent a house and stay there for 3 or 4 days and kind of brainstorm on your businesses and stuff. And that's kind of the first moment that I thought of, like, it would be cool to organize a mastermind.
Yeah. I remember that. That was that's when I was putting on the Airbnb Mastery Summit 2.0. You reached out with that idea, right? To put on a mastermind. And I don't know, do you think everyone understands what a mastermind is? I think everyone's familiar with that.
You're very good at explaining it.
Why? Thank you. Yeah. So masterminds, what's interesting about masterminds is like that's been around. Masterminds have been around for a very long time. Think and Grow Rich wrote about it, and that was back in I forget when they wrote that book. But anyway, the whole concept of a mastermind is to bring together like-minded individuals to discuss and solve problems around one central topic or industry, right? So the whole idea, it's like, we're all in this thing together. Let's all bring like-minded individuals and group think and power to one room to solve the biggest problems around that one topic, right? So it's there's masterminds everywhere. I've been involved in a ton of masterminds. I'm actually joining another mastermind myself in Q2. So I'm constantly involved in masterminds. But yeah, I remember when you reached out and you're like, hey, dude, let's get some Airbnb operators together. Let's put on a cool event and, let's just mastermind for a few days. And, that turned into what overnight success is now, right? So STR Legends turned into, well, first we were calling it Airbnb Legends, right?
That's right. That's right.
Airbnb Legends.
Yeah, and then we took out the Airbnb because we didn't want to get in trouble with Airbnb using their brand name.
that was one of them. But the other thing too is we didn't want to get pigeonholed into just Airbnb, right? And that's then fast forward a couple of months, booking.com actually became one of our partners on Legends and sponsored the event and sent down Don to kind of educate our members on what's happening with booking, the whole thing. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, man. So the first event was Puerto Rico, right? 2019.
Yeah, June of 2019. And that was also the first time that you and I actually met in person. Like, we've been talking online for quite a while. I can't remember how long, but I just remember you were on the podcast a couple of times, and I joined. I did something for the Mastery Summit.
Yeah. Well, I interviewed you for the Airbnb Mastery Summit. That's right. And and then we did the podcast, and then a few months later we put on this event. It was awesome, dude. I just remember like flying down. We held it in Puerto Rico. It was my first time in Puerto Rico, and I'm like, man, what the hell am I doing? Like, this is so crazy. Flying to Puerto, I don't even speak Spanish. Like, I don't know what's happening here. And just like meeting you in the airport. All right, bro, let's go. Let's go run this event. And it was freaking flawless. Like, it was so cool to have the people that we had in the room and, masterminding for 4 days on. At the time in 2019, the big topic was like, how do we grow? How do we just focus on numbers? Like, everybody was kind of focused on like, how do we go from 50 to 100 units? Like, everyone that was in the room was first starting to understand like team and scale and all of that. Where fast forward to Cartagena, it was then like, how do we build brands? How do we take that to the next level? Right. So that Puerto Rico event was amazing, man. Like, I had a lot of fun. I think everybody else had a lot of fun. We had some really awesome people in the audience too. Puerto Rico is a really awesome spot, right? Like, it's become a powerful place in the world, especially for wealthy Americans leaving the country to go to Puerto Rico to save on taxes, right? Because you can still hold your, citizenship here in the States. Doesn't really disrupt anything if you move to Puerto Rico. The only thing is you start paying Puerto Rico taxes, which is like a fraction of, where, especially here in California. So that was pretty cool, man. We had Bob Diamond in the room, old school real estate attorney who's just like growing incredible investment companies. We had a couple other guys, David Steck, in the room as well. So that was pretty cool, man. Leveraging our network in Puerto Rico, for the power of that room. So, but yeah, man, that was the start of it all.
Yeah. It was a really cool experience. And I don't know about you, but it was I liked how we were talking online and we just rented out a villa, and we both really weren't really sure what we were getting into, but we just put a deposit down, and it was so funny. Like, we were just trying to figure out how do we arrange everything. Like, it was super fun. But then the people that showed up was awesome. And, a lot of the people that showed up on that event I would consider them friends by now. We have Rebecca, who's now on our team actually as a coach, as a Legends X coach. Yeah. And we're still talking to a lot of the people that showed up on that event, or meeting with them. And so it's really evolved into just a group of friends, I would say.
Yeah, man. And that's the power of masterminds. That I absolutely love it. It's, I think the whole point of a mastermind is to build a network, right? A strong network of people, right? And it's not, and I say this all the time, like, when we run Legends events, we're not the educator, we're not the expert in the room, we're the conduit between the best individuals that we can find in the short-term rental space, right? So it's like that's really the value of a mastermind, is the quality of the people that are in the room. And it's not an easy thing to go out and try to find the best people. It's not only do you qualify to be in the room, because like Legends for us, it's having qualified operators who are running 50 plus units, running a company that has a minimum of 50 units or $2 million in revenue, hoteliers, hospitality investors, like people that are running legit companies, actual CEOs of companies. It's not only do you have to qualify, but you have to be a good culture fit, right? Because like when you spend 4 days in a foreign country in one house with 25, 30 other people, it's like the whole point of that is to break you outside of your norm, get you outside of your day to day, and put you in a place where it's like, okay, all phones and computers go to the side. You know, we're all here to solve our problems, connect, and really have a great time, right? So, you know, I think for people that are looking for a mastermind in any aspect of their lives, it's like it's always looking, what is the quality of the people in the room? Right. Like that's the most valuable thing. And that's something that it took us a long time to cultivate, and we're still cultivating it, trying to find the right people to fit. And we have a lot of people. I mean, think about it, man. Like Rebecca, Christian, you know, Dave, like everyone's been with us since day one. Puerto Rico, Colombia, moving onto the virtual side. And then now, you know, going on to the next chapter of Legends in the coming months, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, we'll do a special podcast on the location. Let's keep that a little secret for now, but it's pretty exciting.
That's right.
Like, it's a really exciting spot that we found. But yeah, we're doing live events this year for sure. We're doing 2 live events. That's going to be part of the mastermind. And when COVID hit in 2020, we couldn't do, I mean, that business was like, it was based on like, or getting together with people, and it was based on travel, right? The live event. So it's like, well, both are not possible anymore. So it's just perfect storm to kill that model. But then we took it virtual, which was awesome. You know, we've learned a lot from these virtual masterminds, and it was a lot of fun. But at the same time, like, we also recognized at some point, people just being in the same room together, it's very different. You know, I think some of the core things that we tried to achieve with the mastermind was we wanted to create real long-lasting relationships between people, right? And we recognize, like, hey, if we get people in a room that are like-minded, but also if we deliver like an incredible experience, because, you know, we bond through shared experiences, right? So if we put together these amazing experiences and we put these like-minded people who are all running similar businesses in a room, then that has to result in, you know, like in friendships and just really valuable relationships where, you know, you could just, if you have a challenge one day in your business, and you could just pick up the phone and call like 15, 20 people that you now feel like are your friends, right? And you could just call them and say like, hey, what would you do in this situation?
Right.
Right. And so that is much harder for Zoom, right? I mean, you can spend hours and hours on Zoom, but being face to face and sitting next to each other and just having a chat, or having some food, or having a drink, or you know, doing like a hot seat, which is where you sit in a group and one person brings like a challenge to the group. Doing that in real life is just, that's a completely different thing. So we recognize that we needed to bring that back, and that's now possible, fortunately.
Yeah. I'm pretty pumped about it, man. And it's, you know, that's what I miss the most. Like, we started going to conferences again, and they're cool. It's awesome connecting with everybody, but you know, there's something different about sitting in an audience, looking at presenters talking at you, versus being in an intimate room with peers, going deep into conversations. And it's not even the mastermind side. Like that was the one thing that I learned down in Cartagena, was the most powerful part for our members were the dinners that we would create, right? Or like the final day when we take everybody out on an excursion and a yacht and that whole thing. It's like those sections where people are open, their guards down, they know what you're about, they know what you're focused on, and you guys are connected on a deep level, that's where the relationships are built, and that's where the business is built as well. You know, like we've had plenty of people, especially in Cartagena, do quite a bit of business together, help each other buy businesses, buy real estate, start doing promotions together. You know, it was pretty cool to see that. And it really comes down to one, the individuals in the room, but then also the space that's being cultivated for that connection, which is super important.
Yeah, that was a big focus of ours as well, was to say, okay, we want to create a non-judgmental, supportive environment where everybody can be real, where we don't have to, you know, fake and filter. We can just be vulnerable and honest about what's happening in our businesses, knowing that, you know, people are going to be supportive, going to respond in a supportive way. So that was another really important part of the mastermind.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait to get it going again. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Dude, I'm super excited. We've been waiting for 2 years because you know it's actually interesting that right before COVID hit, you and I were about to put down a deposit for the next event. You remember that?
Yeah, 2 events.
Yeah,
we were gonna go all in on that, which was nuts. But it's all good, man. Like we got, you know, we delayed a bit. COVID hit, we started freaking out because we're like, holy crap, this was the business that we went all in on literally like 2 or 3 months before lockdowns, right? We're like, all right, well, this is the model we're going all in on. We're going to do these events all around the world. And then the world stopped turning, which was nuts. You know, but it's all good, man. Like, you know, I think it is amazing. Like I was looking back, I was working with our new team member Jenny on the upcoming stuff, and I'm looking back at the old photos and the agendas, and I'm just like, man, this industry is moving so freaking fast that it's important for even us to be in the room with these legends to learn on what's happening for the industry that's going to affect our overnight success business and then free wild as well. Because, you know, like think about Puerto Rico, like everyone that was there, it was like the new age operator trying to figure things out, and they're scaling 50 to 200 arbitrage units, things like that. Cartagena, we started seeing everyone started switching towards the management role and wanting to get into the ownership model. And now what I'm seeing is like everyone's heavy into the ownership model, boutique hotels, unique spaces, management at scale, you know, like talking to Christian, man, like that dude is on fire with what he's doing with his model. Rebecca's on fire with her models. She's got 2 models now, which is awesome. And the people that we're attracting in and talking to now, these are CEOs of companies that are, yes, the operator side, the management and the rental arbitrage, mostly management. There's not a lot of rental arbitrage companies right now that I'm paying attention to that are really scaling at a high level. There's a few, you know, of course, but they're raising big money. They got big VC backers and all that stuff behind them. But the bootstrappers, I don't see too many of them right now. I see mostly management, which I thought was interesting. But we're seeing bigger, like CEOs of bigger companies and a lot of hoteliers and hospitality investors right now being attracted to the Legends Group. So I'm just watching the organic changes of the industry. And that's what's so important about being in a group like this, being in the room with people that are really pushing this industry forward and understanding where the trends are really leading. It's not necessarily trends that you could read on AirDNA. This is stuff that you have to be in the trenches to understand why they're making the decisions to go into this model, right? Or change it this way, or whatever that is. So I'm excited about just cultivating the space to be a student in there as well.
Yeah.
And understand what these companies are doing at a high level.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we learned so much from not just the live events, but also the monthly virtual masterminds that we were doing.
Yeah.
Because pretty much like any issue or any challenge that you could ever have in building your short-term rental business, it's come up in conversation. Like, I don't think there's anything left that's, that hasn't been discussed in that mastermind. So it's extremely educational. And I'm also really excited about that part because it's been like 2 years since we've been in the same room. I'm super excited to, to have those conversations and to see where people are at, because I think you're right. It changes really, really fast. And that's one of the big takeaways I had from Puerto Rico too, was like how young these companies all were.
Yeah.
Remember we asked people,
Yep.
when did you start your business? It was all like 2016, 2017, 2018, maybe even, right? It's just like a few years, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah. I agree, man. And now everyone's seasoned, and we've gone through probably one of the hardest things that the hospitality industry can go through, and we all thrived, which was nuts. Well, we'll see what's coming in the near future, but I mean, to survive and thrive through a global pandemic of countries shutting, like, I don't know if that's ever happened before, like travel on a global level just shuts down, and like no one's allowed to travel to another country, and like it's freaking nuts, man. People weren't even allowed to leave their house, and the industry still thrived for a lot of companies. Nuts.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So I'm excited, dude. I'm just excited about getting back into the room and understanding one of like, what the hell just happened? Like, what just happened in the last 2 years? How did we just survive this? How are we thriving through this? What did we learn by surviving through one of the biggest challenges humanity has ever gone through, on top of thriving? And it's like, what do we got to do to prevent this from happening in our companies again in the future? Meaning, like, how do we not over leverage ourselves? How do we not get into 100 different master leases and over leveraging things just because we want to scale? How do we prevent ourselves from doing that? But then also, how do we capitalize on the market right now, especially the investment side? That's one conversation I'm really excited about having moving forward in Legends, is how do we leverage what seems to be the coming market crash or market correction, I should say. I don't know if it's going to be a crash or a correction, but we're hearing a lot of stuff. Markets are slowing down. Interest rates are going up, inflation, all this other stuff. How do we actually position ourselves to capitalize on that when it does happen, right? Like, those are the conversations I'm super excited of having, on top of understanding how do we manage a hospitality brand at the highest levels. The conversations are evolving, which is beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And you mentioned that this is kind of the first time in a long time that we had a pandemic like this, right? And it's funny because my 16-year-old nephew, when it just started, he asked me, and he was like, yeah, like how many times has this happened before in your life, like that, something like this? And he was assuming like, maybe 2 or 3 times or something. And I was like, no, this is completely new to me. And he was like, really? You were like 43 or 4 years old? This never happened in your life? I was like, no, this is something really unique. Like, it's not like something that happens every 10, 15 years or something.
Yeah, dude. It was nuts, man. It was nuts. But we're here, dude, and it's exciting, man. It's exciting to see what companies have done. And I'm just excited to understand what they have in place. What do they learn going through that? And then what do they have in place now to prevent us from crashing again in the future, right? If something else like this hits. So conversations are powerful there. And that's the power of masterminds, especially for the people that are listening. It's like, even if you don't qualify to get into the mastermind, the Legends Mastermind, it's like constantly seeking out knowledge and even organizing your own mastermind group, right? It doesn't have to be at the level of Legends, but one of the most powerful things that I've ever done that really inspired the Legends Mastermind structure and how we did it was living in the entrepreneur house in San Diego for 3.5 years. Right. And that was essentially one big mastermind where, 5, 6 CEOs of low or high 6-figure companies would get together, live in one place. But it was like every Monday we would order a bunch of food. We would shut our cell phones off, and we would spend 2 hours around the table eating and solving problems in our businesses and sharing what we're learning. Right. And then every Friday we would organize a community dinner and intentionally invite over high level CEOs at companies in the space that we wanted to meet, but also wanted to connect with other CEOs and just cultivate conversations. And that was by far, that was like my, that was my education in business, was really understanding what are other companies going through? What are they experiencing? I can't be the only one experiencing these problems. And you realize that you're not. And you realize that like your problems are not unique to your business. Everyone else has experienced these problems. And if they haven't, they will. And let's understand what was the best things that they did to solve those problems and move forward. What questions should I be asking myself? Who should I be hiring? Stuff like that. So like, it's really easy to cultivate these rooms if you're a connector and if you want to meet other people. Right. And I think as you're growing a business, it's the most important thing you can do is surround yourself with peers that are growing successful companies. Doesn't mean that it has to be in the short-term rental space, right? Mm-hmm. It could be anybody. Last Friday, 2 Fridays ago, when I was on the boat, I organized a small mastermind. It was me and two other guys, and we were in, one's in real estate, the other is in men's coaching, right? And it's like, we got together and we solved something and we brought it back and we implemented it into our company. It's going to have a major impact on our company. Right. And it was 2 hours of talking about business. So masterminds are the most important thing you can do for your business as you're growing. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think one thing I've learned over the last year or so, especially hanging out with our investor, and I've been able to connect with some of his friends. And these are people that are running, like multi-million-dollar businesses, if not billion-dollar businesses. And it's really interesting to listen to them talking and asking them like, oh, what's your biggest challenge in your business? And then what you realize is that it's pretty much the same, just at a bigger scale. Right.
Yep.
It's really interesting because literally one of the challenges that one of those guys is going through, it was literally systems. And then I kind of explained what we built with Legends X. And it was funny because he was actually saying like, oh, that's kind of sounds what I need in my business. I was like, yeah. I was kind of humbled by that.
Yeah, man, it's all the same stuff. I remember talking to our investor down in Costa Rica, right? And talking about his business, and he had the same exact challenges that we had, right? It was like, how do we find the best quality people to join our team and speed this process up, right? And it's like we're always running into time issues. We're always running into team challenges. We're always running into all these problems, especially in the hospitality industry, of like the short-term industry, of like the cleaning issues, or I can't find the right cleaner, or the guests keep doing this, or I keep running into this problem in my linens or consumables. All that breaks down to is systems, right? And it's like lack of systems and all of that. And it's like, that's what every business experiences. So like, if we can cultivate the conversation to go deeper into understanding, what is working for other people and taking that and making it unique to your own business, that's where we can solve these problems. Right. So yeah, I think Legends, Legends Mastermind, I think it's something that we're going to be doing for a very long time, especially as we grow FreeWild, right? Because like, to get people in the room, I want to understand how, I was talking to Nathan from the Bubble Hotels, and man, it's such a cool freaking model. And he's buying up land all around the country. He's launching something really awesome right now in Utah with over 100 bubbles and mirror houses and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm able, like, he's so far ahead of where we're at with FreeWild. I'm able to pick his brain on what he's experiencing now, which is now we're bringing it back to the drawing board and adjusting what we're doing with FreeWild. Right. And it's like understanding that side, or talking to Seth from, Bolt Farm Tree Houses, and understanding how fast he was able to build his business down in Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee, and how he's able to duplicate this over and over again so freaking fast. I'm looking at what we're doing for FreeWild. I'm like, holy crap, man, we got to start looking at different markets. We got to look at different assets to build, right? Because it's like what we want to do in Ottawa is going to take us 1.5 to 2 years. What it took Seth, a few months to do. Right. And I'm like, oh, okay. There's different ways of doing these approaches, but you have to have those high level conversations with people that are in the business doing it at a high level. Right. Otherwise we're kind of just all guessing as we go. So yeah, I'm excited for the next one. When do we get to tell everybody? I want to tell everybody what's happening
next week. Next week. So yeah. So on
you guys
Monday,
are gonna have to wait.
Yeah. On Monday, we're going to send out an email. We're going to update everybody on what's going to happen with the short-term rental Legends Mastermind. But what we can say is we are, we've taken it to the next level. We're really taking it to the next level in many ways. Like everything that we've learned through the virtual masterminds, for the live events, or put everything together and just take it to the next level. We're doing 2 live events. And next week on the podcast, you and I will we'll talk about the location that we found, because we literally just when did we close on it? We just locked it in a couple of days ago.
Just a couple of days ago. Just a couple of days ago. So we got the dates locked in, just finalizing some final details, and then we'll announce it next week on location and how many spots we have, who we're looking for. The whole thing. Yeah, man, I'm excited about it. And now we're already starting to plan the second one as well, which is awesome. Yep. So, but yeah, man, that's it. Masterminds. That's what's going to get us to the next level.
That's right. So if you're listening to this and you have 50 or more units, then you might qualify for the mastermind. We'll send out the details again on Monday, so make sure you check your email, and we'll be sending a lot of emails around the mastermind with details and stories from our legends, because we have so many cool stories. A lot of the legends have been on the podcast. I mean, recently we had Tim, who recently broke 100 units. Like when he joined the virtual back in 2020, he only had 40, and now he just broke 100. Right. So
Tim Mitmer.
Yeah, Mortimer in Australia.
Mortimer. Man, I can't pronounce his last name. That's a tricky one. Yeah, he's killing it, man. I love seeing what he's doing down there.
Yeah. It's a really, really incredible story how he went from a high school teacher to now owning a business of managing over 100 units. Just completely changed his life. Which is really incredible to see. And he had that right mindset of, like, he was seeking out business coaches. He was seeking out masterminds. He was seeking out advice, just recognizing like, hey, I can do this faster if I connect with people who've done this before. Right.
That's right.
So yeah, he's done an incredible job. He was on the podcast a few weeks ago. So if you haven't listened to that, then go back and check that out. Really cool story.
Awesome, man. I love that. Well, until next week, y'all, we're going to give you all the details. So tune in for that. And yeah, I'm excited, man.
That's right. Have a great weekend, everybody. And Monday I'll be back with an episode of the host show. And next week, Eric and I will be back, and we'll talk about our next live event, which is where it's going to be, what it's going to be about. It's going to be awesome. So take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya, y'all.